Hello and welcome back to Lord of Heroes News on Nyris Gaming. We have our update today. We have a few things to look into. Let us start with relics and skill level ups. So first things first, we have Light Rashad here. He got his relics and aptitudes added. As far as I can tell, there's still no way to get those yet, likely in a future banner. His default relic is going to increase his health. Come to think of it, I think he's the first Rashad to ever have relics, so these are new models. His refined relic is going to give him a 50% chance to grant him immunity for 1 turn. That is going to cap at a 90% chance for 2 turns. His Divine is going to give him a 50% chance to deal 20% additional damage that ignores defense upon attacking. The chance to ignore defense is going to get to 100%, and the damage it does is going to cap at 35%. So definitely, if you're trying to run him as a DPS, run this one, with the 800% damage increase to his burst if the target's resistance is reduced. Now sadly, if I remember correctly, he was a paid-only hero just before the change went in, and he is currently not available. Next up is going to be Earth Johann, another one who is paid-only, who I believe you might have a slight chance of getting currently on the Dark Vanessa banner. That is correct, you have a 0.33% chance per pull to get Earth Johann on the Dark Vanessa banner currently. So he has his aptitudes and relics as well now, and you're actually able to get them if you happen to luck out. His default relic is going to give him crit rate. His refined relic is going to increase his damage against water elemental enemies. This will cap out at a hefty 80% damage increase. His divine relic is going to give him a 30% chance to remove one of the most recent debuffs from the user upon the start of his turn, and this will cap out at a full 100%, so a guaranteed single debuff removal on the start of his turn at max rank. It is something to note, though, that he can grant himself immunity, albeit only for 1 turn. So it's up to you to decide whether this is redundant or not if you happen to get it. Now, Earth Lyrae. I said in the news video about this update that the way they had her balance changes worded was a little weird and it came across like a typo. I really need to learn that they don't really do typos. They are doing what they say they are doing. So the main change to her is that her 2, it used to be exactly this, except for the crit rate buff did not stack. And then they tacked that stacking on and kept everything identical. And I was a bit confused as to why it still had a 2-turn duration, thinking that that was just them not updating the text. No, this is exactly how it is. This is the first stacking buff in the game to have 2 methods of expiration. And I wouldn't be so annoyed by this, because a stacking crit rate buff, if it's the same as the default one, if this stacks up to 3 times, that's 90% crit rate, which is massively excessive and kind of unnecessary, but it also ties into the increased damage on her burst now, this new addition that they made alongside of this, which deals 100% more damage for every stack of crit rate on the user. So, if we take a look at this, I have playtested this, went into it earlier. The stacking crit rate buff does in fact expire after 2 turns and after every wave. So, with this being a 4-turn cooldown on default and the things only lasting 2 turns, it is literally impossible to get more than 1 stack without any levels on it. Even if you get this to level 4, and it has an increased buff duration, the stacks last for 3 turns and it's still a 4-turn cooldown, and it's impossible to get more than 1 stack, because they will expire for no reason. Literally an example of this, for 1, increased crit damage, stacking up to 3 times, expires at the end of a wave. No duration. Literally no other stacking buff in the game has a duration as well as the wave expiration. This is the only one, and I have no idea why. You have to get this all the way to max level at 6, for the cooldown reduction to sync up the duration and the cooldown at 3 turns each. And even then, if she gets crowd controlled or uses anything other than her 2 on that 3rd turn, your stacks are gone, and your extra damage on your burst is gone. The only other way is to have a cooldown reduction unit, like Earth Fram or Waterlin, to reduce the cooldown of this ability. I don't understand why this isn't just a stacking buff like every other stacking buff in the game, and not requiring a bunch of other leveling or other characters to make it function properly. Because if you don't max this out or you don't have cooldown reduction units, they might as well not have changed her at all. because it's still just a 2-turn crit rate buff for bonus damage that you will only benefit from a third of, unless you have all of that other stuff working together. It's a bit baffling, and I don't understand why they did it this way, given there's precedent for this kind of buff all over the place everywhere else, and this one just has to be different for some reason in a potentially non-functional way. Moving on from that nonsense, we have our new Dark Cleric, Vanessa, and we have her skill level ups. Her 1 attacks a selected enemy, increases the crit damage of the user by 20%, stacking up to 5 times. This expires after defeating a wave of enemies. Damage dealt increases based on her max health. Again, stacking crit damage buff. No basic buff expiration. They put this new method of a stacking buff on one of the characters and then made another character with the old way of doing it immediately after. However, this will get 3 instances of 10% damage increase and another 15% crit damage on each stack, making each stack worth 35%, totaling at 175% increase. Her 2, with a cooldown of 3 turns, attacks all enemies, deals up to 5 times additional damage based on enemies' max health. Additionally, increases crit damage of all allies for 2 turns. Increases attack strength of all dark elemental allies for 2 turns. Gains an extra turn, more than 1 cannot be gained in a row. Damage dealt increases based on the user's max health. It's all damage except for level 6, which is 1 turn cooldown reduction, dropping this to 2 turn cooldown. So at max rank, it's not quite up constantly, because you'll be able to do this and then fire off a 1 or a burst immediately with the extra turn, and then be able to fire this off again the next turn after. Still pretty frequently. Her burst is damageless, so her primary source of damage, if you're going to be going with that, with her max health and crit damage, is going to be her 2. But this, spirit cost of 4, heals all allies and generates a shield based on the user's max health for 2 turns. Heal is based on max health as well. Additionally, grants focus defense light to all allies for 2 turns, which reduces light elemental enemy damage by 30% against them. This will improve the shield twice, increase the recovery by 10%, and at level 3 and 6, reduce spirit cost all the way down to 2 total. So a very easy burst to get out. Now that we've got all that out of the way, let's take a look here. I just had one musing / suggestion. We have all our new summon banners here, the ones that are about to go away, and we have our focus on a specific hero's relics whilst they're around as well. This will guarantee you one of these 3 relics every 10 pulls. Like I was musing with how Genshin does it, you get a 4-star every 10 pulls while going on a banner. Why is this system not just part of the banner normally? Wouldn't that make a lot of sense? You're pulling, going for 90 pulls to guarantee a specific hero, but at least every 10 pulls, you're getting a specific relic for that hero. So by the time you do get them, you have some things to work with. I feel like that would deal with a lot of the bloat and make a lot of sense. And we don't have 6 different banners going on here, 3 of which you're burning Linkstones just to get the relics and have no chance of getting the heroes, because there are no heroes on these at all. I feel like that would be a good way to consolidate. But anyways, Citadel missions. We have a bit more details on this now. These will run for the entirety of a month from the first to the end. These are basically just even more like normal dailies to do, although they do reset periodically throughout the day. Each set of these missions will get you the 900 to get the bonus 5 up here of the raffle tickets, and each of these will give you a certain amount of raffle tickets each, at which point you come over here, spend 15, and you get a random thing on this table. This table will upgrade as soon as you choose to hit this unlock stage, whatever is next, and that button becomes unlocked once you happen upon the Kanai's gift option. And thankfully, they need to do this more. Click here and have specific drop tables and what rewards you can get. So there, at this first stage, are chances of runes, crystals, and linkstones at varying quantities. You can max out at a single pull. Looks like these cap out at about 18-20ish% of the likelihood of getting it, and there are a few to randomly happen upon here. You can only get each of these once on the table, and if you progress to the next one, you cannot get any of these anymore. It will be a fully new table, and if you get everything on the table, it will auto-progress you to the next one. But we can also come over here to view details and see what happens on each stage. So it looks like what's put on the table is randomized as far as quantity is concerned, and also what is put on the table specific item-wise, because I do not have any replica chests on mine, or battle skip tickets, I don't think. But you'll have the default Kanai's gift on stage 1, 2, and then at 3 it upgrades, and you can click on these to view how it is even further. A wider spread of quantity of link stones and crystals. And the runes gain the ability to have 2 in a capsule. That'll last for another 2 stages until 5. So once you hit stage 5 with the 3rd tier of capsule, that's when soul stones, elemental ones specifically, start getting introduced as a possibility. Then another 2 stages and another upgrade. That ups the maximum of link stones to 150. Maximum crystals to 875. Runes get the chance of having 3 in a capsule, and Mystic Soulstones get added to the mix. Next upgrade is at stage 10, and this is the highest tier capsule. Maximum Link Stones is 200. Maximum Crystals is 1500, which is enough for a full 11 pull. That's nice. If you get runes at this stage, it's guaranteed to be 3, and Primeval Soulstones get added to the mix, although only at a 1.8%. You can actually encounter 3rd tier Elixirs of Insight at these later stages, so there's going to be even more ways to actually get these. Nice to finally see them implemented. It's only taken nearly 4 years. The model and the concept of them has been in the game since its inception, and we're only just now 3.5 years later actually getting to use them. This, I don't know if I should be concerned about or not, because I don't know what this entails. If you finish stage 12, is this where you go next? If that's the case, why does it downgrade to the same as stage 1? It's like a slightly, minutely better version of stage 1 if you get through all of stage 1 through 12 afterwards. Why would you want to go back to this? Because yeah, it's all the way back down at tier 1. Yeah, we'll have to see, because you're gonna have to clear out pages 1 through 12 throughout the entirety of a month, and we only have half a month for this first one because it's already in the middle of February, so we'll have to wait till next month to see how effective that is. I believe with all of that gone through, that is it for the update today. Like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know what you think of all the changes in the comments, and I will see y'all in the next one. Likely tomorrow, my friend Deathwalker and I will be streaming some more Helldivers at 7 p.m. MST if you want to come and check that out. Bye bye.